מיד נבלך ושבו וחיו ישמעו כל דרכי לב יאזינו כל ערלי רוח להם יד נבלך ושבו וחיו.
Can you hear me, Baruch Hashem? The Hashem's loving grace. This is Lazer Brody, back with our third consecutive shiur with the Lighthouse. And 3 in halacha is called an established pattern, a chazaka. So now that we've got 3 shiurim in a row, Baruch Hashem, it'll help us to have a good continuation. I'm excited to give shiurs tonight's shiur. It's a special one, and it's also got to do with the Parshat Shavua, the Haftarah from the Parshat Shavua. We try to make these things timely and deal with the time of all Klal Yisrael. Tonight's shiur is entitled Rahav's Rope. Okay, so this again, once again, we're here with the Lighthouse and a virtual Lighthouse in virtual Miami, and you can see us now on Zoom or on Facebook Live. Welcome to all our guests on Zoom. Welcome to all our guests on Facebook Live, on the Lighthouse Facebook Live, on Friends of Rabbi Lazer Facebook Live, and on the Rabbi Lazer Facebook Live, Baruch Hashem. Okay, today is a lesson in spiritual mathematics. Okay, what's spiritual mathematics? We know that what we see in the physical world, this comes from Hashem's blueprint to create the world. Last week, I mentioned the Zohar, the passage Zohar, Parshas Bereishis, where it said that Hashem looked in the Torah and Hashem created the world, which means that the Torah was Hashem's blueprint. So everything we see in the physical world and even life sciences, we can see this all in Torah. We see that Hashem runs the world. I'll give you an example. We'll turn to Newton's law. Each action has an equal and opposite reaction. This is all over the spiritual world. It's called Mida Keneged Mida, turn for turn. One action causes another action. In other words, what the Torah tells us, for example, and the whole concept of reward and punishment, and this is something that we believe firmly, it's one of the 13 principles of faith, that if a person does Hashem's will, the Rambam says in principle number 11, that a person does Hashem's will be rewarded, and a person doesn't do Hashem's will to be punished. It's like saying, if you stick your finger in an electric socket, don't expect not to get an electric shock. It's dangerous. We know that we do certain things that are cause and effect. The Torah is very much cause and effect. That if a person does certain actions, then it gets a blessing. Person does actions that are against Torah, then it's the opposite of a blessing. Okay. So today we're going to learn spiritual mathematics. I'm going to give everybody, in case you like mathematics, you'll enjoy this. Okay, there's a concept in mathematics called absolute value. Absolute value, it doesn't matter whether it's plus or minus. It doesn't matter whether it's plus 100 or minus 100. Absolute value is the measure of a number from zero. In other words, the more a number goes away from zero, the more it has value. For example, I can understand that. Let's suppose somebody owes you $100. Okay, that's negative. Owes you. Now, let's suppose that 100 people owe you $100. That's 100 times 100. Now, when you have negative times negative, that's plus. But here you take all that negativity and turns into plus, because when everybody pays you back, you've got now $10,000, $10,000 in your pocket. And this is negative times negative is a plus. All right. So it doesn't matter, even though somebody, it looks like it's negative, when you have a negative and you do the reversal of a negative, it's a plus. So in other words, if someone has a really strong Yetzer Hara, I mean, really strong, and people condemn that particular person, what this guy is, whatever they call him, he's a crook, a lowlife, whatever. Oh no, I love people like that. You know why? Because I'll never forget in high school, my wrestling coach in high school wrestling team was named Bob McNeilis. He was a son of Pennsylvania coal miners. And he said, I can tame a tiger, but I can't put fire in a pussycat. In other words, we had guys that are on the team that Coach McNeilis turned them around. They were the biggest hoods in school. They were crooks in school. They stole cars. And he trained them and taught them ethics and turned them into really great champion sportsmen, because they had lust, and they took that lust and put it into positive effect. Okay, where do we see this in nature? We see this in atomic power. For example, atomic power, it is a lot of power. What can you do with the power of a match? Okay, a match, you can light a big fire, can ignite a fire, yes, but the match in itself. With atomic power, you can either destroy a city or illuminate the city. Depends what you do with it, but it's an absolute power. In other words, the Swedish inventor of explosives, nitroglycerin, he committed suicide because he thought that his invention would use to blowing up holes in mountains that could build railroads, and in the side of mountains they could build new neighborhoods on places that previous couldn't. And then he saw what people did with his invention, and they used that invention to destroy each other, to make weapons. And this was not his intention. He committed suicide. I forgot what the guy's name was, but he committed suicide. All right, so absolute value describes the distance of a number on the line from zero. The further away it is from zero, the more it has absolute value. Okay, so an absolute value number is never negative. In mathematics, we write it, we take the number like say 9 and write a line on each side. That's called absolute value, right? So where do we see the concept of absolute value in Torah? See, right at the beginning of Torah, let's say it doesn't waste time. We see that there are two brothers. Adam and Eve's two sons, okay? Abel and Cain. Abel is a shepherd. Cain is a dirt farmer. Okay, Abel takes his best sheep and his best sheep cheese, and he gives this beautiful sacrifice to Hashem. What does Cain do? Cain takes his worst crop, was flax seeds. We'll soon see something special with flax seeds. Okay, Cain takes his worst crop and he presents to Hashem. It gives his offering. All right, so Hashem accepts Abel's offering. It was done with a willing heart, and he doesn't accept Cain's offering. So the Torah says, Vayipol, that Cain's countenance fell. He was very, very disappointed that Hashem didn't accept. All right. So Hashem says, hey, listen, you're a cheapskate. There's a joke about this too. They say that if Cain would have, if Hashem would have been a natural food salesman, then flax seeds, they're very healthy, but then it was considered, he could have given some much nicer things. He could give us his nicest fruit, nicest vegetables. So he gave flax seeds. Okay, flax seeds. Hashem says, you put an effort into what your brother puts an effort into, his spirituality, his service of me. Hashem says to him, he says, you're going to go much higher. So, and not only will you go higher, Hashem says to Cain, Atatim Sholbo, you will rule your brother. So we ask ourselves, how could Hashem make such a promise? Abel, he was a good boy. He was a good boy. Abel was a good boy. Cain was jealous of him. Cain ended up killing his brother. But how could Hashem make this promise? Because of this, we go to the principle of absolute value. Our sages tell us that Cain's power of evil, as we see when he murders his brother, his lust for doing what he wanted was much, much higher than Abel's lust for doing his wanted. So Abel was a 60-watt light bulb in the positive way. Cain was a 300-watt light bulb, but it was used in a negative way. So Shem says, listen, Cain, you take your negativity and you turn it into the service of Hashem, and you're gonna be 5 times more powerful than your brother. All right. But Cain, what did he do? He took his negativity, and instead of listening to Hashem, he killed his brother. So he's punished. So if you learn in the Arizal, many of us, we have a soul correction because we have a spark in our soul that's part of Cain, and we're out there correcting. I don't want to go into that. That takes off track. But this is where we learn the absolute value right in Parshas Bereshis, the first parsha of Torah. Okay. So now that's from Hashem's narrative with Cain. Okay. So there's a concept that we learn in this week's Haftorah. This week's Haftorah is the second chapter of Joshua. In fact, read it, or maybe allude to it quite a few times. Second chapter of Joshua, because the second chapter of Joshua talks about how Joshua sent 2 spies to the land of Israel before they were on the edge of the Jordan, about to come in to the land of Israel. And this was right when they came in. Why did not Joshua come and spy out the land himself? Our sages tell us, and we see in the Torah, Joshua was still mourning for Moses. This was still within the 30-day mourning period of Moses, because Moses died on the 7th of Adar, and Am Yisrael came into Eretz Yisrael. They crossed the Jordan River on the 1st of Nisan. They sent the spies in Jericho on the 3rd of Nisan. So the mourning period wasn't over until the 7th of Nisan. Okay, so Joshua sent Caleb and Pinchas. Okay, Pinchas was a zealous Kohen. Pinchas was a rough dude. Okay, and we know Caleb was very courageous. He did courageous things, and it's the way he withstood against the spies. And he went by himself across foot from the breadth of the land of Israel. He went from the coast, which is about the Ashkelon coast, to Hebron, going through all hostile territory, Canaanite territory, the big giants there, so he could go to Hebron and Amarat Machpelah and pray at the grave of the Holy Forefathers and ask for their help, because he knew it was going to be a lot of social pressure on him. And he didn't trust himself. He prayed to Hashem for help. Where did he pray to Hashem from? Not just anywhere. He went to the graves of the forefathers. So you have to understand, and Hebron is something very special place to pray by the graves of the forefathers. You know, if you played by the grave of a grandparent, a great-grandparent, it's something really great. But the holy gravesite, the Marat Machpelah, the Machpelah cave in Hebron, it's unbelievable. So Caleb was courageous, and Pinchas certainly was courageous. Pinchas, to do Hashem's justice, he went against the entire Simonite tribe, entire tribe of Shimon, and because of what Shimon did, Pinchas punished him, finished him off at the edge of a sword. Pinchas didn't fear for his life. Caleb didn't fear for his life. The only thing they feared was Hashem. Something we learned from these 2 spies. The only thing feared Hashem. So this mission is actually a Tshuvas HaMishkal. This mission is, Tshuvas HaMishkal means equivalent tshuva. It's when someone does a mitzvah, again, we're back to absolute numbers. If the sin was a 500 level sin minus 500, then Tshuvas HaMishkal, equivalent tshuva, is a plus 500 mitzvah. But to make equivalent tshuva, what's called Tshuvas HaMishkal literally means weighted tshuva, weighted repentance, where a person does repentance with the same weight of the sin. Equivalent, like if you have a scale, if we would have scale, the old balance scale, they would be perfectly balanced, okay? Perfectly balanced. because the mitzvah is now a correction of the sin. When the sin is minus 500, comes along the mitzvah and brings it back up and makes it even, and it wipes away the sin. Okay, that's Tshuvas Mishkal. And get a lot of people think, some people, they quote stringent sources, they take it out of context and they take it literally. Don't do that. There are certain sins where you may see in the Gemara, there's no tshuva for this sin. There's no tshuva for this sin for a person that doesn't, which we call masilas nefesh, doesn't do with tshuva with all his heart. But if a person is willing to sacrifice his life to do tshuva, it works. There are all types of ways, and that's what Rabbi Nachman said, Ein shum yeush ba'olam. So do not think that there is ever tshuva. I'll give you an example. I get a letter from a woman who, before she made tshuva, she had an abortion. And after she made tshuva, she heard about what abortion is. Oh, wow, what damage and this and that. And she couldn't sleep at night. She was so terrified. And they told her, the rabbis told her, they said, no, there's no tshuva for what you've done. This is like a murder. You have to do, maybe, even if you raise a big family, still what you've done, the damage is done. So Hashem turned around, she came to me, and I told her, I said, meanwhile, she made tshuva, and she's keeping family purity, keeping Shabbat, doing everything. And here's a Rebbe, how can I do this? And I told her we made a CD. Hashem enabled us to make a CD entitled The Joy of Children, which is talking about the sanctity of a soul, sanctity of an unborn soul, how an unborn soul is a full human being, okay, and encouraging women not to have abortions. So I said to her, this is an equivalent tshuva, is something you cannot bring that particular neshama back, but the neshama that Hashem wanted to bring down, you can uplift it by taking this, spreading the knowledge. If you save one abortion, that's your tshuva. Okay. So if you spread 100 CDs, for example, and one of the women that hears that gives it to somebody and it saves an abortion, you're home free. Not only that, but the fact that you've done 100 times, in other words, as far as you're concerned, you would want to save 100 abortions, even more. Okay, this is Hashem will only accept that this is what you have to do, because we say that the outcome isn't dependent. But that's an example how by preventing an abortion for someone else doing it is atoning for abortion that they might have done. And we could go on and on. This is a very sensitive subject, but you can't. Don't ever be depressed. And don't be your own rabbi and don't be your own kangaroo court. Before you judge yourself, find a rabbi or a spiritual guide that knows halacha, that understands, and that can direct you how to correct things, because everything is correctable. And this is the words of the Baal Shem Tov, this is the words of Rabbi Nachman. Okay, Rabbi Nachman says, if you believe that you could ruin something, believe that you could correct it. So, ein shum yeush ba'olam. Amar Rabbi Nachman, there's no despair in the world. Okay, you can do Tshuvas HaMishkal. So Tshuvas HaMishkal is equivalent tshuva. And once again, this is the spiritual counterpart of atomic power. Why? Because we said atomic power is the quintessential absolute number, where we take atomic power and it is in the zillions, the power, and it can light up a town or it could blow up a town. So the tshuva for Hiroshima is to build a nuclear reactor for give free electricity to everybody or whatever. I mean, just example. Okay, so we see that just as atomic power is the physical absolute number, then the Tshuvas HaMishkal, the equivalent tshuva, this is in spirituality the equivalent of atomic power. When a person does tshuva, what's the equivalent tshuva? It's like lighting up it's like atomic power. He's lighting up the entire world. Not only is he correcting himself or herself, correcting the entire world. So who did that? Rahav. Rahav did that. Okay, first of all, it's the answer to all the feminists, that think that Judaism, that the Torah is chauvinistic, don't know anything about Torah. I'm sorry. Anybody thinks that the Torah is chauvinistic, the Torah is talks so much about women. We have the land of Israel by virtue of a woman, and her name is Rahav. Okay, nobody. The whole we talk about now. There's the whole thing with Trump and Bibi and the world and government and yes, West Bank, no West Bank. I like the word West Bank. It's Judea and Samaria. Okay, they say, well, Lazer, how come you're so apathetic about it? Now, don't worry, because Mashiach and Hashem are going to decide the borders. Trump doesn't decide the borders, and Abu Mazen doesn't, Bibi doesn't. They don't care. It doesn't matter. Going through the motions, and we see now, especially with what Hashem has done with COVID-19. Hashem runs the world. Hashem made the world stop. And now in Israel, there's a second wave of it. People back there started, everything was kind of loosening up. Now everything's retightened. Second wave of it. Why? Because in the first wave, the Son said, if people don't understand, don't smell the coffee, and don't make tshuva's a mishkal, and they think it's back, and then the Tel Aviv municipality says, oh no, we're going to go back to public transportation on Shabbat. Wow. You guys got to have the eye, nose, and throat doctor, because they don't smell, they can't see, they can't hear. In other words, the three monkeys. That Shem locked everything down, and not only was there no public transportation during on Shabbat, there was no transportation during the week. And now they want to go back to that. That will not happen. And Hashem says, okay, didn't hear the word I call. Now the second one. And it's very clear, very clear. There's a second wave in Israel, and heaven forbid people are getting sick again. There was a time where there was maybe 1, 2 new cases a day, and now they're back up in the hundreds. So we have to be careful. Beloved brothers and sisters in America, in Europe, in South Africa, in Pakistan, wherever you are, in Hong Kong, in Singapore, Baruch Hashem. Okay, we have our friends in Africa. Wherever you are, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Don't let up. Do something in your life to make yourself a little bit better than you were before COVID-19. When you've done that, say, okay, Hashem, I understand the message. This is a wake-up call. And a wake-up call, wake-up call, an alarm clock, it rings. If you wake up, you turn it off, that's fine. If you don't wake up, the way the new alarm clocks are made, the second ring is louder, and the third ring is louder. The fourth ring is louder. That's what Hashem does. That's what Hashem does. If a person doesn't wake up and tries to ignore Hashem's message, then it gets louder. We don't want that. We don't want that. Okay, we don't want a louder COVID-19. We want that to go away. Everybody try your best to make yourself better, to make your family better, to get close to Hashem. And that means that Hashem, we smell the coffee, we understand the message. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Do it true. Look at Rahav. Rahav, some people call her Rahab in English. They call her Rahav because her Hebrew name is Rahav. And Rahav is a very special name. There are so many Kabbalistic undertones to the story. I just can't help it, but got to go into it. Rahav, her name, it has a numerical value of 210 in Hebrew. The resh is 200, the het is 8, and the bet is 2. Together, 210. The name Ekia, Aleph, the holy name, Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey, it has a value of 21. When Moses went up to Mount Sinai and Moses wanted to know Hashem's name, Hashem says, no, you can't know my name, Moses. He says, well, Hashem, I got to know who I'm talking to. I mean, you meet somebody. I'm going to say, hey, you. I want to say your name. Hashem says, okay, I am that I am. This in the Torah is Ekia Asher Ekia. Okay. And it means Ekia, literally, when it's not a holy name, means I will be. But Hashem saying to Moses, I am that I am. This is one of the holy names. When a Sofer writes this in the Torah, he has to write this with the same sanctity that he writes any other holy name. Okay, this has a name. Aleph is a 1, Hey is a 5, Yud is another 10, Hey is another 5, together 21. Okay, 21. Hashem says the same thing to Moses that he does to Joshua. Hashem says to Moses, Eyeh, he says, I will be with you. And Hashem said to Joshua, Eyeh, and he says, I will be with you. And Hashem said later to David HaMelech, Eyeh, I will be with you. This Hashem, this is one of the greatest things Hashem can say to a person, I'll be with you. A is 21. So this, we learn according to Kabbalah, that 21, the name Ekyeh, is the name of Hashem's Hashgacha Pratis. That's when Hashem has you in a very good full court press, Hashem's divine providence. So this name is indicative of Hashem's divine providence. 21 times 10 means that Hashem's providence in all the 10 spheres of godliness. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut, Chochmah, Bina, Das, Tah. Okay. So by Rahav's name, with Rahav really means wide, that the hashgacha on her was very wide, and we'll see Rahav's power, what she got, and the dark side really wanted her power. Rahav was given a potential for holiness. She has a potential where she could attain a prophetic level where Hashem would be with her on every single level of godliness. Now, who are we talking about? We are talking about the most disadvantaged individual maybe in history. Okay, Rahav had 3 tremendous strikes going against her. Number 1, she was a woman. Okay, we're not going to hide it. The woman has to work hard to get to the same level that a man does. It's a truth, we can't deny it. Number 2, she was a Canaanite, and the Canaanite were cursed. Remember that Noah cursed his son Ham? Canaan was a son of Ham. Okay, she was from the Canaanite nation. They were a cursed nation. And number 3, she was a streetwalker. She was a harlot. And we learned, wow, but she was not just that she wasn't a streetwalker, she was a very high society. Rashi tells us in the Parsha, Rashi says that there wasn't a single prince or king in her generation that were not on her list of clients. Her list of clients were the most they had all the political influence of the generation. It was amazing. And we'll see what happens then with her equivalent, what Rahav does with that, okay? So we'll see that we see, I think something, if the administration, we have been somebody spamming us here, and the Shure has been crashed. Shure has been crashed in several ways. And if so the admin can do something about that, I don't know what to do about that. Okay, but I see there's been some nasty things up on the wall here. Okay, Vivian, if you can give Michael an upset out there, there's all types of things. I don't even describe it. Okay, so and I think this is maybe upsetting people, and we can know that the Yetzer does not want us to say this. Sure, all right, the Yetzer doesn't want us, but okay, so we're gonna beat the Yetzer. All right, I'm terribly sorry about this, but it's not something we can control while we're doing it. Okay, so if the administration of Lighthouse could do something about that, sorry for the interruption. Okay, but we're being interrupted by the Yetzer. Okay, the Yetzer, Rabbi Nachman says about the Yetzer, it's like a boxing match. Shlug deal, shlug meal, with less than pass your mind. Okay, the Yetzer gonna attack. All right, and you can do what you want. You can hit me, I'll hit you, and help you. But I promise you that the last hit, the knockout punch, I'm going to throw it, not you. Okay, so we're going to keep on going. And once again, I apologize to everyone. This is, I've never seen anything like this happen on Zoom. Okay, and once again, make a bracha. And so we could see, Baruch Hashem, that what we're saying, it has clout, or otherwise the Yetzer would not be messing with us. All right. So the profile of Rahav, she had every disadvantage. She was a woman, and she was a harlot, and she was a Canaanite. But let's see what she did to overcome what she did. All right. So the spies, they come into the land of Israel, and they disguise themselves as deaf people, so that they wouldn't think, so that people wouldn't be afraid to listen to them. Another elaboration says that they disguised themselves as potters. They carried pots on their back. Okay, so we see that what she did the things that people in Torah, throughout Torah did, and tremendous, tremendous things. Okay, first thing, what did she do? She defied the king of Jericho, said to Rahav, give me these two people. Give me these two people. So she told them that they left already, go chase them. And she defied the king of Jericho. She defied the king of Jericho to save the two spies, Kalev and Pinchas, which are really saving the Jewish people, just like Miriam and Yocheved, or the Torah calls Shifra and Pua, they defied Pharaoh when Pharaoh said, kill all the Jewish boys. And they were the midwives, and they did not kill them. Okay, so they defied all of that. All right, this was just something tremendous. Okay, second, she hid the spies on her roof. And what did she hide them in? She hid them in flax plants that were drying. Where were the flax plants messed up? Cain messed up in flax. Remember that? Well, the flax plants in particular, are the plants that they were drying on a roof, and she used to hide the spies. Okay, that's number two. Number three, when we said she hid, we talk about when Moses was hid, when Miriam hid Moses from the Pharaoh, there was a decree against all the Jewish boys to throw them in the sea. That's called V'yitzpaneu. The same thing says V'yitzpaneu, the same exact word. It's not a common word in Torah. The same exact word was used to describe the way that Rahav hid the two spies. Now she shows how powerful her prophecy. You have to understand, at this point in time, this is exactly 40 years after the Jewish people left Egypt. When they're crossing over the Jordan River, they're coming into the land of Israel. Exactly 40 years later. What happens then? What happens then? Rashi tells us from the Midrash that when the Jewish people left Egypt, Rahav was 10 years old. When Rahav was 10 years old, that's when she started engaging in her profession. When the Jewish people came into Egypt, Rahav was 50 years old. She was a 40-year veteran in her profession. Okay, so the one thing, there's a political explanation that she knew what was happening because of all her clients, the princes and the kings that were so afraid of Israel. Everybody was so afraid of Israel. And she knew that everybody was scared because her clients didn't have the will to come to her. They were so worried. And they're worried that this is not, they're worried about the existential, not living, not coming. So her business is going down. But even more than that, her prophecy. She told Pinchas and Kalev, I know that Hashem has given you the land. This is the beginning, and we see her intuition, and we see how she uses it to understand what Hashem's doing. She has powerful intuition, Bina Yatewa, powerful woman's intuition. She has a powerful, very cogent power of observing, and she is observing. Okay, so now, once again, I'm really, really sorry for all the spamming. I see that there's spam coming through on the chat. I don't know what to do about this, the spam filter, but it's disconcerting, and it's taking me a little bit of my concentration. Bear with me, but okay. And I see there's all the nasty pictures and messages coming on, but okay, they'll get theirs. They'll get theirs. Don't worry about it. Hashem takes care. There's Hashem in the world, and there's justice in the world. Right. So we said that she has powerful power. Now look what happens. She makes a deal with the spies. After the soldiers of Jericho, they run off in the desert. They think that the two Israelite spies ran away, and she lets them out. Okay, what does she do? She lets them down from the same exact rope that she picked up her clients. Rashi tells us this, that the rope in Rashi's explanation on verse 16, on verse 15, in Joshua 2, verse 15, Rashi says that the rope she used on the window was the same exact rope that she used to lift her clients up, the same exact rope. Okay. And this is the epitome of tshuva, a mishkal equivalent tshuva. She used that rope for the worst lustful sins in the world. Now you can understand why people are attacking us here. And now she used that same rope to save the people of Israel, to help them make their conquest of the land of Israel. So we owe our conquest of the land of Israel to Rahav. Now, wait a second. Now, what happened, Rahav? Just as she, talking about the equivalent, the payback for equivalent tshuva is unbelievable. Because just as she was the lady of choice for all the political leaders in the world, what is her reward, her equivalent reward for equivalent tshuva, is now she will become the great-grandmother of the spiritual leaders of Israel. If we open up our Gemara and tractate Megillah 14b, the Megillah tells us who Rahav's offspring were. Her offspring were with her wedlock with Joshua. She came back, she married Joshua. They brought her back to Israel with her family, they saved her, okay? And she became a righteous convert. She married Joshua. And so at age 51, she had her first child by Joshua. At age 51, right after 51 or 52, I don't know whether 51 where she gave birth or conception was 51, maybe she gave birth at 52, but 51, 52 is when she had her first child. Her offspring include Jeremiah the prophet, Huldah the prophet, Baruch ben Neriah the prophet, and another five. Unbelievable. So this we see, not only does equivalent tshuva, it behooves, but the reward for equivalent tshuva, it is unbelievable. And so we see, once again, answer to the feminists. Who led to the conquest of Israel? Two women, two female prophets. Deborah, in the War of Canaan. Barak, he was general. He was head of military forces of the Israelites. He says, Deborah, I'm not going into battle if you don't come with us. Okay, I'll come and Hashem will deliver the enemy in your hands. And that's what he did. And then who initiated the victory? Yael. Who killed the king of Canaan, the general of Sisera? Yael, another woman. Say, here you go. No chauvinism in Judaism. Sorry, guys. That's it. Anybody that says there is does not know Torah. So we owe the land of Israel to three women. We owe the land of Israel, the conquest of the land of Israel, to Rahav, to Deborah the prophet, and to Yael. Okay, Baruch Hashem. So Rahav's rope. Rahav's rope. This is the symbol of equivalent tshuva. And once again, this is what Rahav did. She went from the lowest to low, a woman, a Canaanite, and a woman of the night, to become the head, the wife, the Rebbetzin of Israel. Moses, he left his spiritual inheritance not to his sons, to Joshua. Joshua inherited Moses. Now we see that's why Joshua was warning Moses just like a son. Joshua was his son. That's why he sent Pinchas and Caleb. Joshua would have much preferred to go in and do himself, but Moses was just like his father. Okay, so the spiritual inheritance didn't go to Gershon and Eliezer, to Moses' sons. It went to Joshua. Joshua marries this little woman. Can you imagine? Take the greatest rabbi in Israel. You plug in the name. We have, Baruch Hashem, a few greats. All right. Take, imagine, or the greatest rabbi of the previous generation. What do you want? Rav Shach, Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rebbe Vadia Yosef. Can you imagine them marrying a woman with a background of Rahav? But I mean Joshua, Moses' prime disciple, the book of Joshua, the leader of the Jewish people after Moses died, and he married Rahav. This just to show what Rabbi Nachman says, Ein shum yeush b'olam, there is no despair in the world ever. Okay, what doesn't matter where a person, how low they are, could go to the top. In other words, we only limit ourselves. Our neshama, our soul, it's a tiny part of Hashem. Just as Hashem is unlimited, our souls are unlimited. And yes, you have to take the power of your soul and harness it. And if you don't take the power of your soul and harness it, then you're not dealing with the soul. And that's what Western society does. and it's all the hackers of our neshama, just like you can see it live here now, live audience of hackers, okay? Thank you, hackers, but they're just making this shiur even more powerful. The live audience of hackers are showing that they don't want us to say this shiur. Their live audience of hackers and your neshama, like this is sounded like show from Hashem, is telling you that they don't want you to fulfill your potential. If Rahav could reach the top, unbelievable top, from the bottom, rock bottom, there's no lower in society. Show me one name lower in society that with a beginning lower than Rahav. No, nobody. Okay. This, look what she did. Look what she did. Not that she made tshuva, not she became a righteous convert, as maybe today's, okay, she married another convert that went to yeshiva, a good guy. No, she married the head of Israel. She married the Rosh Yeshiva, the biggest Rosh Yeshiva. She married the head of the Sanhedrin. She married the biggest religious court judge. She married the leader of all of Israel, the spiritual leader of all of Israel. And look what her offspring were. This shows you what she did. She took her minus zillion and moved it into a plus zillion. Rahav did the greatest tshuvas of mishkal that was ever done in history. And beloved brothers and sisters, if we do that, then we can do that too. We could do that too. Rabbi Nachman said one time, somebody says, "Oh, Rebbe, if I were a great grandson like the Baal Shem Tov, then I could be a Rabbi Nachman too." Rabbi Nachman Breslov said like this. He said, "It's got nothing to do with me being a great-grandson of the Baal Shem Tov. If you work on yourself like I work on myself, then you will be me." Yes, you'll be. With Rabbi Nachman, he died at 38, and on his deathbed, the fact that he had tuberculosis in his last 3 years of life, that was an excuse. But Rabbi Nachman finally says, "Not tuberculosis killing me." He says, "I cannot have a day in life when I don't get closer to Hashem. If there's such a day in life where I don't get closer to Hashem, I don't want to be alive." This is it. And so what happened is that he got as high as he could, and then he just couldn't go high anymore within the flesh. So Hashem had to take the flesh away from the body so that his neshama could continue going higher. This is what death is. And death is, people look at death. No, death is that the neshama goes free. The neshama just has to go higher, right? But while we're in this world, we have a chance to connect, to correct, to rectify the flesh. And then we do this by the mitzvahs. We do this by the equivalent tshuva. Now just imagine something like this. Okay. Modern society looks at you, and we who are loyal to Hashem and are loyal to Hashem's Torah, we are not politically correct, because the Torah tells us to do certain things that society says. Our society, you have to be open and you have to be tolerant. Okay, we're tolerant of other human beings. We are not tolerant of transgressions of Torah. We hate transgressions. For example, this is you see the junk that was flashed here on the screen that the hackers fled. It turns your stomach. It's anathema. How can some people take joy in this? It's terrible. It's terrible. We can't stand that. I'm sorry for those hackers, but you guys got to do big time tshuva. But it makes us sad. It makes us sad. Just as mitzvahs make us happy, serving Hashem makes us happy. The opposite. It's saddening. It's very saddening. So we're not politically correct. Why? Because people want us to say, "Oh, this is fine." What's flattery? Flattery in Judaism is not when you tell a person, "Hey, listen, you look beautiful," when she doesn't look beautiful. Okay, that making a person feel good. Maybe it's not true, but flattery means telling an evil person that he's good. Okay. Flattery is when you tell a person who is in a same-sex marriage, "Oh, Hashem loves what you're doing." No, Hashem doesn't love what you're doing. Hashem loves you, yes. Hashem loves you, and it doesn't matter where you are. But my beloved brother, my beloved sister, you got to do tshuva, because what you're doing, the Torah doesn't allow it. "Oh, that's not politically correct, because politically correct, we have to be the member of the LXBGT community, LXBGT community. It's against Torah. I'm sorry. It's just now we're going to be in the McDonald's cheeseburger community because that's against Torah too. Okay, Mr. McDonald, you could have, you have Hashem give you a good life and make your parnasa, but not with my Israelite brothers and sisters. No, take a walk. Okay, Torah doesn't allow to do things, and not only that, if you're a Noahide, not even Jewish, to talk about the mitzvah to be fruitful and multiply, this is a mitzvah for all of humanity. So if someone uses the reproductive apparatus as a game and not to be fruitful and multiply, whether it's Jewish or not, this is a transgression. This is transgression. It's not only a transgression of Torah, it's transgression of the 7 Noahide mitzvahs. Okay, because 7 Noahide mitzvahs, adultery is not allowed. The Noahide can't do adultery. Yes, the adultery, they have to have relationships through marriage. And the same thing. Otherwise, society goes crazy. Society goes crazy. Israel too. So it's not so popular. And I hear from a lot of people, even in a religious circle, you take people that are, but they don't seek Hashem. They don't desire Hashem. They're not looking for Hashem. And sometimes within a religious circle, they laugh at somebody that wants to get close to Hashem. Is he crazy? Or somebody becomes a BT. Crazy. And thank you, Hashem. I have the privilege of being in contact with Noahides around the world. Wow, do they get it? Woo, do they get it? What the Noahides have to go through with families and friends and what's this? And they stop coming to church and people really, no. They want to keep Torah. They want to have one God. They're not interested in anything else. So people ridicule you. You know what the ridicule you're getting is? The ridicule for your desire to get close to Hashem, the ridicule for your desire to make tshuva, the ridicule that you are getting for wanting to do mitzvahs, wanting to be stronger, want to be closer to Hashem, want to strengthen your emuna. People are, yeah, laugh at that. I know they're crazy. Why? Because since they don't have it, they laugh at people that do have it. Imagine that someone gives you a pickaxe and someone sends you down into a pit in the ground and they start digging away. And you dig away with that pickaxe and dig away and they force you to dig away. And after half a day's work, your back feels like it's breaking. Your hands are blistered. You're starting to bleed. And people laugh at you. Look at that idiot. This should be an high-tech. Look at he's with a pickaxe and he's digging away at the wall of a pit in the ground. So this is a lack of spiritual awareness. You know what it means with spiritual awareness? Has the spiritual awareness? With spiritual awareness, you know that you're not just digging away at a pit. You're in a diamond mine, and every chop that you do on that wall of dirt, that wall of stone, chunks of diamonds come out. So when you come out of the pit and they tell you, grab some of those shiny rocks, and you come out and they say, now let's shine them and take them and show them the jewelry. And you've got big 15-carat chunks and your pockets are full of them, your backside full of them, and this and that. And all of a sudden you're a quadrillionaire. And this would go up to Shemaim with. Okay. So people laugh at the diamond miner because his face is full of dirt and his hands are bloody and his back is breaking and he's got this pickaxe and this thing. He looks like a menial laborer. They don't laugh at him. After he showers and after a chauffeur-driven Rolls Royce comes to pick him up and he opens up his Swiss bank account with his $quadrillion. No, they don't laugh at him anymore. This is what awaits a person that makes tshuva. And this is what awaits a person that makes tshuva, some mishkal especially. So don't ever despair. Don't ever think you're not good enough. Whatever you do is a great thing. Whatever you messed up, you could do equivalent, build. All right. What you destroy, you can build. All right. Every one of us can do it. And this is our job, to go and see, where did we foul up? Where do we do? And this is especially in a time now where people think that being laid off, okay, it's a challenge, but to strengthen our trust in Hashem, that's to give us time to observe. Maybe we're on the chinchillas on the wheel, and the wheel's spinning so fast we never had time to think about it. So think about what we learned today, and you could do Chuvas and Mishkal, and wow, you could be a rich person, and could do, if Rahav could do it, you could do it also, right? I've spoken, I usually like to speak to 3/4 of an hour, spoken for 50 minutes. I would love to take questions. Okay, Vivian, if you want to handle the chat and take a field of questions and send them over to me. Okay. Anybody have questions? Put them right over here. Oh, okay. Oh, here, Michael. Is Michael? Michael's with us. All right, please raise your hand if you have a question. Okay, good.
I'm with you, Rabbi.
Okay, lovely, lovely. I'm with Michael. Did you see that whole episode with the hackers?
I just heard about this whole thing that happened, and yeah, there's been
We
a lot of backup.
We had a World War III hacker attack on the chat, and there were where I see Paula and Ezra, and I see Gennady and Elisheva, and I see Didi, where I see the people. I didn't see people, and there were all these most terrible views. They were coming over, and it was really disconcerting. Okay.
Shalom, Rabbi. Can I ask you a quick question? Thank
Go
you
ahead,
so much.
Kim. I'm with you.
Regarding the teshuvah process, how is it decided that like something unholy, like an unholy means, can change to holiness or yield holiness, or if it's considered still impure? I know that the question is a little unclear or convoluted.
Instead of being general, can you give me a particular example that you have in mind?
Yes. So my example is, for example, okay, we gave the Rahav example, and then there are times when people use, let's say, money that was, let's say, earned on a Yom Tov, or something that was done in an unholy way.
Okay.
And they use it for tzedakah, for example.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Here's the thing. I know there are people on very high spiritual levels, okay, that if they will not accept tainted money, when will they not accept tainted money? When the person is still doing tainted things. Okay. In other words, if the head of the mafia comes and the head of mafia gets $150,000 for a hit. Okay, and then he goes, he wants to take a miser, $15,000 for it. Here's miser from my last hit. Okay, this guy, and tomorrow morning he's got somebody else on the hit list. Okay, if a Rebbe with spiritual awareness and he knows where his money's coming from, and he says, "Sorry, this is blood money. I can't take it." Okay, you like that one, Aganati?
Thank you.
Anyway, you understand, Kim? But here's the thing: if that mafia guy comes and he comes to the Rebbe and he says, "Rebbe, I got $1 million and I made it when I was a crook. Okay, and I want to do tshuva, and I want to keep Shabbat. I want to learn Torah. I want to learn this. I want to learn that. Rebbe, can you do something with this money that would be tshuva some mishkal for the fact that I killed people?" So the Rebbe says, "I'll tell you what. Let's take that $1 million and let's buy respirators for people that are suffering from COVID. Let's save lives." Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and this is the best case of Chuvas Mishkal here. What we do, he got money for wasting lives. Now we're going to use that money for saving lives. Okay.
Yes.
I could do in any particular thing. Suppose somebody had a non-kosher restaurant that opened on Shabbat, and he made tshuva. Okay, well, it's a no-brainer that halacha, he's not allowed to have his non-kosher restaurant, and certainly not to work on Shabbat. But what about all the money he made from that, Kim? Okay.
Exactly. So what would they do in that situation?
Okay, in that situation, what he would do is he would, let's say you've got a Torah scholar who is writing a book. He sits in Kollel, he's just writing a book about the laws of kashrus. Okay, and this is a book for new Baal Tshuvas, teaching them the laws of kashrus. It's a beautiful, very simple, easy, wonderful guide. All right, but the guy's he's a Torah scholar. He's got no money. So comes along the restaurant owner and says, "You know something? I am going to sponsor your book. Okay, here, you take $25,000 and we're going to publish that book. And you're going to give them out free to anybody that wants that book. All right. And this, from your $25,000, this will be a Chuvas Mishkal from the fact that you knocked people down by serving them unkosher or at Shabbat. Now you could teach them how to keep kosher.
Even
Right?
though they didn't, even though they didn't sell the business yet, and even though they didn't get rid of that business yet, and they're still earning money, continuing to do it, they're still doing the quote unquote hit.
Okay, that is a difficult, Kim. That's difficult, but I know it's not easy for someone to walk away from a parnasa from there tomorrow. I would think they should talk to a good spiritual guide and get some good advice about how to make a best case scenario out of that. Okay,
Thank you.
they continue and they know what they're doing is wrong and they know what they're doing. Now, there are ways, for example, Shabbat, I could solve the problem. He can do Shabbat. He could do Shabbat. Okay, see other raise hands. I'm not going to leave it until I answer people's questions. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm taking time.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, this is fine. I want you to understand this because this for a lot of people need to understand this. Okay. He can restructure the business. All right. And go to a good lawyer and he could say, listen, I want to bring in a non-Jewish partner. Okay. So I will get the non-Jewish partner, all the revenue from Shabbat will go to the non-Jewish partner, and non-Jewish partner will work on Shabbat. He won't work on Shabbat. In other words, he cannot enjoy the revenue. There are ways to do things. I can't go into the whole.
Thank you so much.
But with kasher, it's just a little more difficult. But you have to each. This is the general thing. What I can give in the scope of the shiur is the general concept you understand, Kim. But there is a way to correct anything. There is not a way to correct something when people still continue in the negative behavior. That's not Shuvas and Mishpah.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question, Michael.
Hi, Rabbi Brody.
Who's speaking?
Aliza Wender.
Hi, Elisa. How you doing?
Hi, Rabbi. Wonderful. Baruch Hashem. How are you?
Lovely, 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 lovely. Good to see you, Lisa.
Thank you. You answered part of my question in the last question, but I wanted to know for something that might be less obvious, how can you make sure that your teshuvah is exactly equivalent to whatever?
You give me a bit of a concrete example. That's a bit general.
So maybe if it's like, what if somebody said something, Lashon Hara?
Oh, okay, good. So what you could do, first of all, your tshuva is like this, okay? You know that you said Lashon Hara, and sometimes if you tell somebody that you said Lashon Hara about them, it'll even be worse than before, and we suggest they'll keep the peace. Right? So what do you do in the meanwhile? What do you do in the meanwhile? In the meanwhile, you learn the laws of Lashon Hara. That's for yourself. Second, you encourage other people to learn the laws of Lashon Hara and do whatever you can to encourage other people not to speak Lashon Hara. And that shows you're doing great shuvah. You're helping yourself and you're helping other people. Okay? And that's it. And just say, Hashem, help me every day. Hashem, help me that I should stay far away from this. This is it. And that's it. You're home free. That's it. It's really simple. It takes effort. Okay, because a lot of times, somebody's got this juicy chunk of Lashon Hara on the edge of their tongue, and you gotta swallow it. Don't say it. Don't let it out. Okay, and that's it. You do that. Hashem knows the heart. The Torah says, "V'yareta belokecha." There's things that only Hashem knows, and this is one of the things that Hashem knows. But if this is a person's heart and his heart that he really knows, Hashem, I know you don't want me talking about another human being. They're your kids. Hashem, help me have this cognizance that I feel that every other human being is my brother, my sisters. I won't want to talk about them. And Hashem, help me give you nachas, help me give you gratification, and He's going to help you. Okay, Elisa?
Amen. Thank you very much.
Take care. Good to see you. Next question.
Go ahead, Elliot.
Elliot, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Rabbi?
Thank you. Glad to have you on board.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for the lecture. I really appreciate it. So you said something earlier that kind of resonated with me. You said we cannot have a day without getting closer to Hashem. So my question is related regarding that statement. how do you get closer without burning out? How do you get closer without at some point hitting a wall and saying, I've gotten as close as I could, or I feel like I've gotten as close as I could. I really can't do anymore. I'm at maximum capacity. And then, maybe you don't see the results that you're looking for. Maybe you don't see it in a way that you were expecting. And then all of a sudden you start to regress because maybe you've taken on more than you could, or you're putting too much pressure on yourself to try to get closer every day. So what are your thoughts on that, Rabbi?
I'm going to give you a short answer and a long answer.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You say, the short answer is, how do you get closer when you think you can't get closer? You either join the Marines or join Israel Special Forces. They show you that you could do 35 times more than your max. Okay, there you go.
Right.
That's the short answer. The long answer is that you need a coach. You need a coach. You can't go in the gym. If you go in the gym and you see the guys with the big muscles, Elliot, you say, I'm going to be like them. I promise you, you're going to go into ego mode. You're going to be pulling muscles very quickly. All right. So what you need to come to a coach and say, slow down, Elliot. Okay. You come to Coach Lazer. Lazer's going to put you through a warm up. Okay. I'm going to head to toe. I'm going to warm up everything from your head, your neck, down to your toes. And you're not going to do a thing until you're warmed up, until your body is, your engine's running. Okay. And your engine's running, now you pick up your first pound. All right. And you're not going to go see with the machos and go to the 250 pounds. No. You're going to start with the 15 pounds, with the 20 pounds, with the bar. You're going to start little by little, by little, by little, by little. And you say, no, coach, I want to go. Hold it. And that's burnout. Okay. Burnout is when people burn out. Yes, I see this with new PTs all the time. Tell you the story of a new PT. There was quick burnout here in Israel. Okay. Guy comes in, and first of all, okay, before he makes tshuva, I want to be a breast liver. Okay, but how about starting with being a Jew? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so he goes and, learn liquid moron and all this kind of stuff. And then he joined a group in Breslov that wears, striped garb and this and that. He was wearing like a Me'asharim jacket. The guy barely knows how to say Modani. And I don't know what his Shabbat was. I don't know if he knew yet what Muksa was on Shabbos, but he was wearing striped garb and put a strimal on and growing payas. 4 months later, he was more secular than he ever did. Today, the guy's walking around the street in Ashdod with a tattooed body, talking about burnout. And burnout, fry out. Fry out is, it's a play on words in Yiddish because, fry out, when a guy fries out, fry is secular, but, he fries out. But this guy didn't burn out, he fried out. Okay. We don't do that. We don't do that. You got to have, just like in the gym, you got to have a coach in your neshama. And all the time, you hear me all the time making parallels between body and soul, between the physical world, the spiritual world, metaphor, because they all go together. You got to have a coach in the spiritual world. Hey, Rabbi, what should I be learning? Hey, Rabbi, how much should I be learning? Rabbi knows you. Okay, so wait a second. Suppose Elliot is, he's hitting the pavement selling insurance for 10 hours a day. Okay, he's got, he's an insurance salesman. He's got to knock out a living. Oh, Elliot, go sit and learn 4 hours a day. What about his wife? What about his kids? What about you? You don't do that. But people say, oh, no, I'm no good. I need to be learning 4 hours a day. Who says? Somebody else this week, Rabbi, shouldn't I be getting up at midnight to say midnight lamentations? Should you be guarding your eyes? You're going to say midnight lamentations with the same eyes that have been looking at bikinis all day long? No, this is this is burnout. Elliot, this is burnout. You got to have a physical trainer that knows you. You got to have a spiritual trainer that knows you. You got to have a spiritual guide that knows you, that cares about you, knows where Elliot is holding, knows what Elliot's challenges are, and take it easy. Take it easy. We all need a Rebbe. We all need a Rebbe. Doesn't matter wherever it is. And you want to know something? Everybody has a Rebbe. The first thing you want to ask a spiritual guide is, who is your Rebbe? Okay, ask me up. Why? Meltzer Rebbe in Ashdod. Okay, who's that? And who was his Rebbe? Reb Nachman Sfinken. And then who did? Go all the way back up and take that. That takes you up to the Baal Shem Tov, and that takes you up to David HaMelech, and David HaMelech takes you back to Yehuda, and that takes you back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so you got this is our connection. You know exactly where you're. This is what it means to be hooked in. And he takes somebody, even a holy Jew like the Melitzer Rebbe, step by step. He won't let you jump over. Even they see what, hey, I want to dress like the way he does. Rabbi Melitzer Rebbe, you won't have to put on your knee socks and put on your shtreimel. You could be a holy Jew by being Elliot. Promise you. Elliot is one holy Jew because what Elliot can do, nobody else on earth can do. All right, so Elliot needs to look for that good point and needs somebody that knows him where his coach can point out his good point. Okay, Elliot, you need to be working in kettlebells and not as a sprinter, this is what connect you into the right forum. Same thing. There are people that are aces in Gemara. There are people that are aces in Halacha. There are people that are aces in Chumash. They go. This is the greatest thing. Find the portion in Torah. Find that part of Torah where you love and challenge. This enables you to come into Torah. And you come into Torah and find emuna. Emuna enables you to daven when you are enraptured. One of the great things about the Corona is that people don't have to rush to the office at 9 o'clock. Look at it. And hey, you don't have to look at the clock and in a Aleinu, slam you're filling off and slam dunk your sitter. You could Aleinu Shabeach and Shal Nishmas Kol Chai, be enraptured. Right? Enjoy life. Hashem's going to take care of you. You don't make a living out of your job. Hashem is going to take care of you, whether you're an optician, whether you're a locksmith, whether you're a watchmaker, doesn't matter what you do, whether you're sitting at home, Hashem is going to fill your path, whatever you did, whatever you don't see it. You don't see it in your bank account, but it is there. And I promise you, okay, that Hashem's going to take care of you. All right, that's it. So lots of success, Elliot. Answer your question? Okay, next question. Next question. Anybody want the microphone? Michael, Vivian, you with us?
I'm here, Rabbi.
Okay, got another question?
Checking here. Yes, Gabrielle.
Okay, Gabrielle, lovely.
Hold on. Gabrielle, you can unmute yourself.
What's that? I'm here.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, Gabrielle. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much. I just wanted to thank you, but before I want to say something, but before I say that, I just want to thank you because Baruch Hashem, like you're laying that out, Baruch Hashem, Hashem should bless you. I feel like you're like a walking Kiddush Hashem, like you really emanate simcha, and just like looking at you, just gives us like chizuk and makes us like see that, in the person.
That's it. You made my day, Gabrielle. If you would sign me $1 million check and just say what you did now, that's not worth it, Baruch Hashem, because that's exactly what I ask Hashem and pray Hashem and hope Hashem to be able to do.
Hold on a second. I lost my.
Okay, I hear you.
Hold on.
I hear you.
I won't hear you because some called me. Oh, now I hear you. I think. Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I hear you perfectly. Okay. So I didn't hear your answer, but really thank you. Hashem should bless you. Thank you so much.
God bless you too. Right back at you, your family, everybody. All your heart's wishes for the best. Okay?
Amen. Thank you.
Anybody
and I just wanted to make I just wanted to wait. Sorry. Wait, one thing. Rabbi Brody? Rabbi Brody?
I'm with you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So about the woman who asked about, when a person, if they spoke Lashon Hara. So I know from my own experience that like sometimes like when, I don't know, like when I learned the halacha, like when I read it, it didn't really connect to me so much. I just was reading it and it didn't really sink in. But then But then somebody asked me, like, I'm a preschool teacher. So somebody asked me, like, if I could teach children like a daily halacha. And I started making videos. And because I had to read it and then like say it and then like do it like an expressive way with meaning and like trying to make it fun and trying to make it, you know, that others would connect to it. Like then it really sunk into my conscious, and now like I'm more careful. So I just wanted to offer that. She wanted to like make it easier for herself, like to be able to be more sensitive to the halakha of lashon hara. That maybe even if like she could maybe offer that, or even for herself, just like learning it and then like make a video and like trying to like
Good point, Gabriel.
when you're
That's a
saying
wonderful.
it, it's
One of the
really
best
made a
ways to
difference.
learn is to
Yeah.
One of the best ways to learn is to teach. That's a wonderful point. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Michael, next one.
Anybody else?
Take advantage, guys. So you don't have to write me emails. You got it right now, right here, captive audience. Whatever you want to ask. It doesn't have to be necessarily about the shiur, whatever you want to ask.
I would like to just make a point, Rabbi, that the reality is that with all these bombers that are going into these Zoom rooms like you experienced today, that's obviously the klipa trying to latch on to the amazing Torah. So you know that we're on the right track when these kind of things are really happening. This Kedusha is happening on a high level, and of course this has to happen. So Baruch Hashem, I'm actually happy about these things sometimes.
I am too. I am too. Michael, I'm telling you, the Yetzer, he took it in the teeth. He took it in the teeth, and he was trying to give it to me in the teeth. And I know he did succeed in making me hesitate a time or two, because wait a second, this Hashem, let me get this out of my face. All right, so what do I do? And so I was trying to scroll the pictures away and get back to pictures of the good stuff. And it was an attack. And then it started on the chat too. Okay, and so that thing is, let me tell you something. If we were talking about the political situation in Israel, nobody would have bothered us. If we were talking about how to make money on the internet, nobody would have bothered us. Talking about tshuva, emuna, tshuva samishka, get out of here. Get out of here. Okay, so that's it. I'm a partner. And Michael, this is what makes me so delighted to be a partner with you in a lighthouse and to be able to bring these shiurim. And like I said, this is the highlight. This is the highlight of my week. Is a Baruch Hashem Wednesday. Okay. I think maybe Michael, you want to make a little announcement. This Shabbat is not Shabbat Mevorchim. In other words, the Wednesday before the Shabbat Mevorchim, the Wednesday before Rosh Chodesh, the Wednesday before the Shabbat before Rosh Chodesh, which is once a month, we're going to make a lesson that is more comfortable for the people in North America. Okay, so I think this will be in another week or two. We'll check the calendar. We'll be in touch with each other, Michael. But
yeah, that'd be great. We're very excited about that.
Yeah, we'll check the lighthouse schedule. It'll be sometimes like 8 or 9 p.m. New York. I'm going to work this out with Michael, but this is just to know. So once a month, it's going to be in the evening time. All right, this is going to make me get up early, and it's going to make with London, it may hit them right at the time of Shacharis, but we'll see. What we want to do is equal opportunity emuna, and because I know it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon in New York, it's great for us in Israel. It's a little late for the Pakistanis. Okay, Pakistanis that are watching. Yeah, we got viewers in Pakistan. Okay, the Pakistanis are watching. It's 11 at night when we start. Now it's already after midnight. So, Baruch Hashem, thank you, Michael. Look at our challenge that we have to try and accommodate the best way we can do with viewers from all over the place. It's like having a short blanket. When you cover your head, your feet are outside. You cover your feet, your head's outside. So we're going to take maybe 1 week we'll cover the feet and 1 week cover the head. No, but three weeks a month. 3 weeks a month will be at this time, and then 1 week a month we're going to do an easier time for North America. Okay. And
thank you very much, Rabbi.
I want to bless you. Okay, you and Vivian, the whole staff at the Lighthouse. Hashem should give you everything you need in material and spiritual ways, means, and wealth and happiness to continue doing even a larger scale what you're doing. Lighthouse doing wonderful, wonderful things. Hashem should, all our participants, all our viewers, bless you, everybody. That you have good, all the parnasa you need, all the income you need, all the good health you need, wonderful shidduchim, great matches for your kids, wonderful children, for all the children that are, or the children or you yourself, people that are before childbirth, have to know, I pray 3 times a day that all the expectant mothers should have safe and easy delivery, wonderful, healthy children. Okay, B'ezrat Hashem, this is all the time. I pray that people should all get their soulmates, find their soulmates. People should all get their parnasa. All your heart's wishes for the best. I thank Hashem for the privilege of being able to learn with you guys once a week. It is such a gift. And Michael, big hug, big kiss. And to everybody, have a wonderful Shabbat. All your heart's wish for the best. And hope to see you soon. Meanwhile, stick with us on Emuna Beams, friends of Lazer Brody, and Facebook and Lighthouse. And we're happy to see you all week long, but especially on Wednesday night. God bless and a wonderful week.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Michael. Take care and God bless.